You know, it's actually kind of funny because I was just going through my boxes the other day. I told you I moved, and I actually found my Amazing Spider-Man like T-shirt, which is pretty cool. So I can finally review these movies properly in the Spider-Man attire. So here we go with my review of Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Dos, or Spider-Man whatever the heck you want to call it. I could care less, but here's my review of Spider-Man 2. Either way, doesn't matter. This movie, all I have to say really about this movie is that it is a giant, huge improvement from the first movie. And not that the first movie is bad per se or anything like that. It's not that it was a bad movie. It was just a very flawed movie. It had many flaws in it, which I've already expressed in my Spider-Man review if you want to go watch that. But this movie, I think Sam Raimi basically went ahead and watched the first movie, while making the sequel, and basically said, you know what, I'm gonna basically improve every last small little bad thing that was in the first Spider-Man movie, and he did. Every flaw, every little thing that was just about Spider-Man 1, they completely fix in this movie, like everything. First of all, the villain. The villain, not that the Green Goblin, the bad villain or anything in the comics, but the thing I didn't like about the Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man movie is that he looked ridiculous. He looked like Tommy Oliver from fucking Power Rangers, for the love of God. Just no. No, no. They made him look more ridiculous than he was in the comics. And it's a Green Goblin riding on a glider throwing explosive pumpkins. Really? How can you get more ridiculous than that? But the Doctor Octopus here, he looks in the comics he looked he looked weird. He looked for comics, I guess for the comics he didn't look that weird. But if he were to be put on screen as he were in the comics, then a lot of people would say, that's kind of stupid. But he actually looks very sort of as realistic in this movie, as realistic as you can get with with an octopus man basically. But then again, there's an Octomom, so what am I gonna do? But basically, they fixed the villain completely in this movie. He is he's a good villain basically. He's just good. I don't know what to say really. I've brain farts basically, just brain farts. But I think the best thing about this villain is that he's not a villain just to be a villain. He's a villain because he wants to basically finish what he started at the cost of humanity, basically. That's the one reason why I think a lot of people like this villain. And I think that's the reason why they made Sandman in the third movie a little bit not like he was in the comics, but ultimately, that just fell completely flat. And in the other list of stuff that they improved upon were the effects. The effects in this movie were completely better, and they looked way better than they were in the first movie. Like I said, the effects in the first movie were completely, they looked like a PS1 cutscene, and here they looked like a PS3 cutscene. Basically, they improved, by 2. That's pretty good for them. Another thing good about this movie is that it's not really the basic superhero movie formula. It's more than just bad guy fights good guy, bam bam bam, the end, go home. It's more than that. It goes into the how the life of Spider-Man is sort of ruining the life of Peter Parker. Peter Parker, he's missing his classes. He can't spend time with Mary Jane and stuff like that, and ultimately almost gives up on being Spider-Man, which is really interesting. And I think the only other time that a superhero movie did that was Superman 2, which, for example, Spider-Man losing his powers and so forth. That's, that was something good in the movie. And, I didn't really understand why they did that, when I first saw this movie as a kid. But, now I understand because they wanted to do something, different. They wanted to do something, really cool and different, basically. Another thing that was improved upon was the acting. The acting was a little bit better. It wasn't entirely better. It was just, better. than it was in the first movie. It was just like really stale in the first movie. Here, it's better, but I think that's because, like I said, the writing's a little bit better. The script is more better. They can act to these lines basically, and that's why I think they think they did a good job basically. Why am I saying basically all the time? It's annoying, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on Spider-Man 2. Ironic. But yeah, I think this movie is solid. It's a solid movie. I think it's way better than the first movie. That's why I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. There are some minor problems in the movie, but it still is a pretty damn solid movie. Definitely go see it. Definitely you can get it at like at any store for like a couple bucks. No big deal. Just go buy it because it's really good. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say about it. So yeah, go watch it. It's pretty damn good. But I have nothing else to say, so I'm just gonna end the video before I start saying stupid shit. See you.